This is a working screen, but we are audible.
Awesome.
Yay.
Alrighty, let's get it. Let's get it.
Okay, I clicked my buttons, so we can start.
Perfect.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Today we have not a guest, but the guy who hasn't been here in a while.
Appreciate
Well,
it. Appreciate it.
well, I suppose magician is a guest, so that's also true.
What's up, man? How's everybody doing, man?
Yeah, doing quite good. For us, it's afternoon. For you, it's still early morning.
Yeah, it's 10:06 a.m., man.
Yeah, although given what we are doing, this is actually the best timing, at least according to what Grok told me. The most active posts when they are most active. And yeah,
Yeah, it
today
seems to be.
quite a few news. So this is what I shared last time. You probably noticed that happening over the last few days. If you are in UK, some
Yeah.
of the sites have been banned. You cannot see them. Twitter has this thing that if you're not verified, some of the posts they are not visible. It says something about we will not show it to you until we estimate your age, something like that. I stumbled upon a few of them. I had to like go to the Posse account to actually see what it said, and there was like nothing pornographic. In fact, oh, I guess
Yeah, this is so annoying. You just have some random posts and then you cannot even see them. There was a workaround for this, like you could change your account location, but it was patched, and now I'm just having half post
Wow.
showing and half post hidden. Yeah,
Oh wow,
not so fun.
it's that bad for you because like I only met like 3 of them maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're in UK, so you have it quite bad. I've seen actually quite a few images where a website's like UK laws are stupid, so for now it's unavailable to you, something like that. So
No, that makes sense.
there's been a meme which it actually worked. This is from a game. I don't remember what it was called. Uh, I only remember that they had 2 words. So in there they have a system where you need to like turn on the camera and
Mhm.
present your face so they can estimate your age. And they took this photo, well, a couple of photos from a game, and just used the game photos to trick the camera into
Mhm.
verifying your age, and it worked.
Yeah, I can imagine it would. I mean, half of these things are garbage. It's bureaucracy, right? They need to feel. I guess they have people breathing down their throat. Really, what I think it is misplaced boredom. I think these guys are just looking for issues that they can push. I mean, it's not to say that it's not a big issue, but the reality is who really thought that this would be an intelligent idea that worked in tech? I don't think there's anybody that didn't know right away. Like, come on, like who is the advisor to these guys? Like, I think to myself, like, oh my god, man, I want that job, man. That's like easy money.
100%. I think the more problematic thing is that you might get your data stuck somewhere and prone to being
Mhm.
leaked. I don't
That's
know whether
exactly
you've
what's
seen
gonna happen.
the
Yeah.
the T app. I think it was in the US. Like I think it was
Yeah.
some app that was kind of
Mhm.
leaked. Every data from everyone using the app was leaked.
Yeah, do
Mm.
you
It was
know?
quite bad.
Well, actually, I do have this news. It's not in order though. Hold up. It was somewhere there.
Speaking of leaks, I get
There it
like
is.
warnings like every day. Like there's you guys don't realize how many big companies, I don't know if you'll probably see it. I get warnings from either Google or I get them from like other things I'm subscribed to where there'll be big platforms that have leaks. And it's
Yeah.
pretty frequent, man. Like it's pretty free. Like I have to change my password. And I have like I'm one of those whack jobs that got like 20 character passwords that are really long. And somehow I still remember them. I don't know. I think it's like what's it called? Mnemonics or whatever, where you kind of like I
Mhm.
kind of I feel like I have like a thing in my head where I just kind of remember my passwords and I'll kind of recite it. But
Yeah.
the reality is well, now I use Bitwarden, so scratch that. But I see all these things
Mhm.
all the time where it kind of warns me and it says like, oh my god, like this leak, this database leaked. You see a lot of them.
Yeah. That one is
Snapchat,
safe.
Even Snapchat, like even like bigger, like I've seen like bigger, social media platforms and stuff
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
What's this
Yeah.
about, Sleaze?
Okay, so for those who don't, well, I assume you don't know too much about T, right?
No, I don't.
This app. Okay, so the short version is some people call it a necessary tool for women to keep themselves safe. Others, such as myself, I call it a slender house. So
Why? Okay,
essentially,
so yeah, let's say fill me in on that one.
okay, so you know how, like, if you go into something like high school, the girls like to gossip. It's like, is this guy good? Is he safe?
Mhm.
Is he good in bed? Yeah, was he attentive
Oh,
to
I think I
you?
have heard of something like this. Is this a year? So what version is this? Is there like a version of this depending on the country?
I don't think I've heard that.
Okay, so
I
maybe
think it's
Steve.
mostly like US based.
Is it? Because someone else told me about another app that's really big. I'm gonna check later to confirm if it's the same one. But go ahead.
Yeah, so they go there, they share their experiences about a certain guy, and other girls can come in, or it's they verify that it's only women who are using this. I don't know
Okay.
how, maybe with a selfie again, but yeah. Well, it got hacked, so obviously it wasn't that.
Okay, it's the same thing.
sophisticated.
It's the same thing. My wife just told me about this. It's the exact same
Yeah.
thing. Her friend just sent her. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so they would leave reviews, sometimes anonymously, or I guess a lot of the times. I'm actually not sure about this one, but I think it was anonymously a lot of the times. Like about a lot of many different things. Like, when you go to a dating app, you put a lot of random ass information about yourself. Well, they rate
Yeah.
that, and then other women can look at what other people, what other women have described, and decide whether they want to date him or not.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
recommendation app,
Interesting. So here's what the rundown I got. So she hits me up. She's like, "Yo, did you hear about this crazy ass situation?" And a good friend of ours, Matt, they're basically like, "Yeah, apparently not only did this all get leaked, but there was politicians involved." Now, there's two ways to look at this, from my understanding. So pardon me and my ignorance if there's something I'm leaving out there for anyone in the audience. Shout out to those tuning in. We're like 110 people. So what I heard is two things. One, that there was politicians involved, that shit got leaked. There was some sensitive information about an ongoing US military thing, and someone took a selfie or something in a location where the military personnel weren't supposed to be, and apparently that was leaked. And then there's another version where it's a conspiracy, is that this was all planned, like this was intentional, like everything that happened was completely intentional. It was supposed to happen in the way that it did, and a bunch of people got basically fucking exposed. And, and I was just like, damn, it was juicy. It's pretty good actually. When I was reading through the drama of it, I'm like, damn, this is pretty wild.
It's like this thing is like a week old, I believe. At least
Yeah.
it's been popular in the media for like a week, and then it gets hacked. Like, I would not be surprised if it was planned to get hacked to begin with, because like it's such an easier thing to exploit. Because
especially
it's like this whole movement of women that would absolutely jump on the wagon and then get exposed because they are not technically illiterate. Like, it's just such an easy target. Like,
yeah, a lot of those women-based platforms, they're getting bigger, right? Where it's like the women that choose and stuff like that, because you got guys out there, we're like supposed to be like the pigs and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes I guess apparently I could see where they're coming from, where they pick one over the other. But last I checked, if I looked at the actual statistics too, it depends, I guess, on your geographic location. There's more women than there are men. So, I could see. What about over by Spain, Sleazy? Like, what's the ratio like over there?
about the population,
Yeah, between like women and men, would you say? Like, let's say, like, when you're going down your average store or street, like, is the ratio like 5-1, 2-1, 1-1? Maybe it's even. Like, what would you say the ratio is? Because I heard it's actually there's a disproportion.
I remember reading an official stat, which is like very close, with a very slight majority of men, like maybe 50 to 48 or something like that.
Okay, yeah, it depends on where you go. I know, like, some parts over here, it'll be like majority. Some will be even. Some will be, Okay, makes sense. Yeah. So
I
this
don't
is
say that I
interesting.
see much of a difference between the two.
Now, let me read this part. Like, now faces IDs and personal data allegedly being posted on. It's great to see that 4chan, just a side note, it's great to see that 4chan's still going strong.
Oh yeah.
Makes me
Not
feel
overly
so much.
good.
Makes me
I
feel
think-
like a legacy is being left behind. Like, okay, I'm not that
Yeah,
old.
4chan
I-
has
if I
existed since the
remember
beginning of
correctly,
internet.
I think 4chan was also exploited in some way.
Yeah,
Wasn't
they
it?
were. Yeah, they were. So was Pirate Bay at one point, but those guys are like the greatest to ever do it. Like, if anyone
Yeah.
ever remembers like Pirate, like they changed, like they hop domains like every single. I feel like every day. I feel like they got that on like a clockwork at this point where they could just jump to a new site. But those
Yeah.
guys are like the ultimate OGs.
It's like I think the only reason Netflix exists today is because of Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay, yeah, exactly. Napster, all that stuff, man. Kazaa, LimeWire, it was nutty times, man. Burning CDs in school and bringing them to people to try to sell them. That was great.
Oh yeah, speaking of, hold on.
I'll go back to that computer. Oh my God, is that
It says you may be old, but are you this old?
it's a Magnavox. That's awesome. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm that old. That's crazy.
You remember you had like this little square discs that you would put in?
Of course I do. I also
Floppy disks.
It's the save icon.
yes, there was actually a disc that was even larger. This is something like, so my first computer was an IBM 5150, and we pulled it out of a garbage. There was a chief of police. Well, he's now the chief of police somewhere I was from, and his family on the block, they had a lot of money when I was growing up, and they, you know, we didn't have much money, and they every once in a while they would throw stuff out and stuff like that. And I remember seeing like this computer that I think they threw out at one point, and this is like really, this is in the 90s, this is probably mid 90s. And I ended up picking it up and bringing it back and pulling it apart, just playing with it. I must have been a young kid, like 10, 11 years old. Figured it out though, and the disc for it, went to a garage sale and bought a manual in BASIC, and that's how I learned myself, like just following the manual. But when you open it, funny enough, those computers back then, not only, I mean, radically, you could look at all the space, like you could look at everything in there, and you imagine how a computer is made today versus back then. But the kicker was this particular model had a I forgot what they're called. They're called like it goes by size. You can look this up right now, actually, Sleazy. There is a disc that comes after a floppy disk that's actually floppy, and I should know this because, you know, I should know this, but they're probably about this big, and they're pretty decent size, and you can bend them, quite literally bend them, you know, fold it in half. It was that floppy. It was huge.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. Tell me if you find it and you
It's-
see it.
Oh yeah, hold on.
Yeah, pull it up. I want people, see if people remember this.
I will just put it directly on the screen. Hold on.
Oh, bro, take it down. These things were nutty. Let's see.
Loading.
That's it. So that big thing on the far left, that's what I had when I was younger. In the first game that I ever played,
Was it
no.
Doom?
No,
No, that came
man.
way later.
It was super light. Believe it or not, it's not it's plastic. But so, for instance, the floppy disk, the very first floppy disk, the one that you see, not first is in timeline, but the blue one, that was obviously hard, right? The second one, it was like, you know, it was still soft, like you can bend it in half. And then the last one was even, you know, obviously even more floppy. So it's funny that the longer as time went on, the less floppy the disc got, but they were still called floppy disks. But Cosmic Crusader was like the first game that I ever played. And like, you know, I took
That's like one of the OGs.
that was like my, man, that's like started it for me. And then obviously like the Atari, the Pong table was really cool. Like we had a Pong table and stuff that I remember getting from like a garage sale or some shit like that. My grandma, if you didn't, my family, like they used to always bring me these weird garage sales on the weekend. That was a thing, I guess, over by me and, you know, tri-state. But
Yeah, and do you see this image on the left? For
yeah,
those who don't know, it still kind of works this way. It's just that back then there was no graphic environment, which is to say, like what you see in front of you on a PC, that's called a graphic environment. You can work actually without it by having just like lines, and you just write commands in lines. So that's what used to be the default.
yeah, BIOS,
Like
yeah, basically working, yeah. I mean, it's still the same way today, for believe it or not. There's a lot of programmers that still work through something called Vim. You know what I mean? There's guys that completely, they don't really use
you
a
have like
GUI.
Like if you have a home server, there's no reason for you to use a graphic environment. You just go directly there. Like if you know what you're doing, of course.
Yeah, there's debates on what's faster. Like some obviously keyboard, some people it's like a rite of passage or not a rite of passage, but more like an honor among some software. I don't know. I feel like it's a dick measuring contest. Some guys are saying like, oh, I can completely do everything that I do with no mouse at all. I don't think it really matters. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just depends on your workflow.
Yeah, it's a matter of preference, I guess.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. I hear the guys get it, but that's no different than guys like talking about cars and stuff. Like every demographic's got their group of people where they'll say like this is better or this is better.
Yeah, sure, but I'm not talking about the BIOS necessarily. I'm talking about the graphic environment. So you still have operating system. You just don't have the graphic environment.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the terminal. Like just basically, it's like operating from a terminal. Yeah.
Yeah, except without graphic environment, the whole thing is a terminal.
Yeah. It's pretty cool though, man.
Because this way it occupies less memory, it spends less electricity and less power to actually run it. It saves you a little bit.
That's everything's true. About dumbing things down. Like it's supposed to be more intelligent species, but ironically, like I feel like the more time goes by, the more we're dumbing tech. Tech's improving, but we're finding new ways to dumb down the experience. So like everyday people can. There's actually a stat I saw recently, so you probably saw this, where AI is actually a couple different foundations did like a study or something in colleges where they claim that they proved that AI is actually making people less intelligent as opposed to more intelligent.
There is a service mostly operating from India where you are supposed to give the guy some kind of instruction, and he would follow this instruction. He would pay like per hour. And there was this thing that is very close to how we use prompts now. It's like, do this task in these steps. If you get stuck on this step, spend a maximum of this amount of time on it. If you fail, go to the next one. You are supposed to be very precise. Otherwise, he's going to waste a lot of time doing something where he's stuck. And I feel like it's exactly the same system we have now in prompting, because like when I presented it to my dad, who is like a businessman, he's like, okay, but you are supposed to know that they are human, and you should have some kind of expectation that they would understand what to do. And like, well, I think if you give precise instructions, it's going to be better, especially when you're dealing with people who are not who are not experienced, so they didn't complete the education, stuff like that, when they're performing difficult tasks. But yeah, that's
it makes sense. Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying. I feel like everybody now, I kind of like side with Jobs. Like now the genius of Jobs becomes more apparent as the years go on, where he's no longer there. And I see, like, you could see Apple. For me, I think they're grasping for air. Like, gasping for air at this point. I think that they're staying above water, kind of holding on to past successes, because I feel like the products are by far subpar. I mean, it's all just the same shit really over and over. There's nothing really that innovative, if you ask me. But from the perspective of actual user experience, it used to be getting everything down to one click, right? And not even just that, like the user, if they have to figure it out, then it's already a bad user experience, right? Like, I mean, obviously you want to give instructions and stuff like that, but that's what made MacBook and iPhone so appealing to the masses, is that you can just pick it up, turn it on, and you'll automatically, basically have the best experience from the door. And that's something I think is missing in today's development process. I think strongly, ironically, I think like user experience is something that's been on the decline, even though technology has been on the incline.
I've been experimenting with this graphic design tool, and it will do what you're asking it to. So if you don't ask it to do what's right, it will do what's wrong a lot of the times. Even though they do put guardrails to prevent users from making mistakes, it will still be quite visible. Like one of the basic things to do is you make the user travel like 3 times between different points in your design. I usually like to put one big thing on the left, one big thing on top right, and one big thing on bottom right.
Okay.
And that works because if you have 4 things as opposed to 3, suddenly you start being overwhelmed with too much information that's on there. So if you want to put something that catches somebody's attention, you cannot put too much. And if you put 2 things, it's too little. I think it's like you either have to put 1 or 3. And it's just an example of, it's one of those things that you're supposed to know when you interact with AI. Otherwise, it will not actually do the right thing. So, like, you're supposed to know when you need to correct the AI and know how to direct it. Because if you don't know those things, your stuff isn't going to work. It's just going to be mass reproducible garbage.
No. I can see where you're coming from with that. I'm reading this thing you put up on the screen though, and that's interesting because funny enough, I've always worried, like, up in the tower, there's people that are like more closer to the ground zero and all these products, right? Like Google has so many different products that are behind the scenes. It's like a government, right? Like they basically will throw funding at a particular project. If it doesn't succeed in the timeline that, they set the budget for, then they'll just like trash it, right? And they'll write it off as a tax write-off. Like it's not like it's anything to them, right? But I do always wonder, man. Same thing you see with the NSA, like, what happened with the leaks, people being spied on, information, NSA rather, whatever. In this particular case, I always wonder if those that delete that information, there's people that have access to crazy amounts of information.
There was a meme about a girl has like a very messy browser history and her room is clean. Then the guy has a very dirty room and the browser history and then there's a picture of an empty supermarket.
That's funny. That's really good.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
that's
there.
really good. That's
Because
super
everyone's using
accurate.
incognito.
I can imagine. I'll tell you this though. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and
read
then
it off, though.
Elon says, even with a gun to my head, my goal is to make it so that nobody can read your messages, not even he himself.
I love that. I'm a huge, and here's the thing. I like to pick these types of things apart, like the human element of it, right? Like, especially when I'm having conversations about tech now, I realize that I love the tech. Like, that's obviously the appealing part of this conversation. But I think what's more interesting is the user experience and the human element attached to that, right? The human interaction with that. And in this particular case, privacy, right? Like more and more people think people that are private, it's because there's something to hide. And like, I think the more that we live in a crowded world, obviously the more accessible everything is. For me personally, sometimes it's just to block out the noise and to be able to filter through, signal versus noise. And in this particular case, I agree with Elon. Like, I think like Signal wasn't, a lot of people, I remember when Telegram first came out, and Signal and all these apps, and people basically were touting like who was more encrypted, like who was more secure, right? And in this particular case, like there was always loopholes in everybody's business plan or in their tech, so to speak. And in this particular case with Elon, like I mean, not saying I condone everything, but I think, yeah, I've been checking out the new X feature, like, what I mean, on premium. If you look at basically they're trying to be Telegram, like it's keeping everybody on one app. And he said that was his goal, right? Like WeChat, like they're trying to make X the everything app. So especially for Web3 guys that are, running around DMing guys and projects all day and trying to do all their business in chats, I could see this being something that's pretty big. It's just a matter of, will you convince people to use it? Because a big, strong user base in Eastern Europe really uses Telegram as well.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah. Hey, Magician, I hope you haven't been looking at anything weird in incognito mode, because Google knows what you are doing.
Wait, Google saved all my incognito browser. I'm looking at that part. What did Sam say? OpenAI, Sam Altman stated personal data share with ChatGPT isn't protected by, I didn't hear this, isn't protected by legal privileges and could be used in civil or criminal cases if obtained through a subpoena. What the?
Yep. And if it does happen, I think it was a story with Microsoft. They gave all of the data because they were subpoenaed. They gave them the gag order. So they waited like a year until they actually notified the user that they shared his information.
So all those husbands and wives out there trying to figure out a way to get out of their relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Discovery.
I guess as long as it's not something illegal, they will not do anything, I guess. But yeah, I saw on Twitter, like there was one tech. Whoa. There was one. Yeah, this was my.
That was funny. It was in French too, like a French accent. That was great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got my Siri on French, so. But yeah, basically what I was saying was there was one tech guy on Twitter that was saying that every model can snitch on you. Like if you are saying some kind of illegal stuff, they have potentially more or less chance to like send an email in the backend to some kind of government entity or law enforcement. So yeah,
That's dangerous,
probably
man.
gotta be careful about what you are writing.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, man, like, that's also another sign of a good user experience. Like, it's how it lures you in. That's the thing about AI that is dangerous. Like, when you start to use it, you just sink into it. Like, you give your all to that shit. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, it's like a god for some people. They have their entire day. People are automating as much as they possibly can at this point. And it begs the question, when all these things become automated and more processes and procedures are implemented into a system, you know, what gear in all that goes wrong first, right? And then the rest comes crumbling down. And I think about that more and more. This is just more and more systems to manage. There's more and more things to manage. I mean, it's great from an IT perspective. I could tell you this, IT guys will not be, in my personal opinion, going out of jobs with AI. I can tell you that much. Anybody that works in systems, anybody that works in hardware, like, those things to me are pretty, pretty bright. There's a lot of grass is green over there. But I will say this, the fact that they could just dump your personal information out there, that's crazy, man. Think about ideas. I think about that too. I worry sometimes when, like, we're working and use that, because I use AI every day, right? Like, you'd be an idiot not to. And in this particular case, how much of that information does get brought back to other organizations? Think about it. Like, it's being trained on data, right? Like, they're training these models every day. Like, sometimes you'll get a response from ChatGPT where it says, you're now, using a newer model, and it'll tell you, like, be aware of that. This is a training type of thing. Which one do you prefer? And I think all the time, like, how much of that information, it's not that everybody's sitting under a microscope. Like, nobody cares about your tiny startup idea. But what if, like, some of that information gets funneled and obviously categorized? They flag information based upon certain things. Like, it's great because that's how Google got so big originally. If you think about it, it was a data company, right? Like, you know what I mean? They were able to not only index the entire internet, but know everything that was going on that was relevant with Google Trends, analytics, like, that stuff is still, like, big data is still king at the end of the day. No matter what, data will always be king. Information is king.
100%. Okay. I feel there is a invaluable amount of data within OpenAI server. I think I feel, even, I don't know whether you've tested it out, but sometimes when you write to ChatGPT and then it keeps into memory stuff that you've been
yeah.
with. So I guess in terms of, for example, marketing or advertisement, if they started to, I don't know, fiddle around and start doing stuff with advertisement, it could be very crazy.
What do you think, Sleazy?
Yeah. And I was thinking, I feel like people who believe, not necessarily say, because you can say anything for clicks, but people who believe that the IT guys would go out of job with AI, they just simply don't know how it works. Like, imagine if we take our CTO, Nick, and we give him the best software AI in the world. It would accelerate him, but it would not enable any one of us to become Nick. Like,
there's
for so much to it, more than simply writing code. Like, I know coder sounds like just coding, but there's just so much more to it. Every time we bring him to some kind of meeting with another CTO, I can just see how the level of nuance is just so deep just on this one particular issue that you would not know that unless you are in the industry for years and years. So yeah, there's absolutely nothing like, if anything, it might just remove the entry-level coders, but yeah,
it's trial and error.
Middle to, yeah.
It's the experience, right? So especially in systems, right? Like, the emerging careers that I think, like, like, let's be honest. So we've been working on the frontier of AI and gaming for a really long time now, right? So we've been blessed to be able to see ground zero, not only what is actually possible, but the direction that it's all moving in, right? And some people just simply have more resources, whether that mean funding, more talent pools to tap into. But the truth of the matter is the models are out there. People can play with them themselves. They could see, what tech is being developed. Obviously, there's things behind closed doors, but you'll get a pretty good idea of what this is capable of if you're an engineer. But the one thing that you learn right away is it's how you put all this together, right? It's the fact of the matter is systems the frontier of just systems engineering in general, especially with AI, is going to be where a lot of companies are going to pop up. It's where a lot of money is going to be made. And it's because right now we're in a tech bubble. We're in another bubble. This is like the 90s all over again. AI is a bubble. Let me be very clear, and I'll prove it to you. So in this particular case, if you look at AI right now and you look at the internet and Netscape era, right, between like 98 to when the bubble popped, Y2K, the one thing that you could see right away are the similarities. But in this particular case, from a tech perspective, anything that you're seeing these people come out and create these, side projects like Leonardo, or things that can generate images, or things that can generate 3D models, or things that can generate whatever it might be. ChatGPT as a model is already working on a lot of that. Like, for example, I saw a therapy thing the other day where there's this huge app. That's another big thing that's happening now, right? So because millennials are easy to market to when it comes to like mental health, like we're clickbait stuff is like, you know what I mean? We'll click on anything that really is if it grabs our attention. It's just the way the generation is. And in this particular case, one thing that we really care about, the politicians, when they obviously vet communities and they get data, is millennials really care about mental health and stuff like that. The work environment, as opposed sometimes to even how much they make. And with these therapy apps, like you could do that with ChatGPT now, right? So why would you go and pay like, a $30 a month subscription or more, to another platform to do that when it's just another version of what you can already do here, just packaged specifically for that? And I think this is the generation of the everything experience. Like we've been saying this, right? Having an ecosystem hub where people can experience everything in a streamlined way from one center point. You could see Elon working towards this. It's been happening in Asia a lot and other products. So like for me, you could see the bubble clearly, right? When all these products are popping up that are essentially useless, there's only two things really that are going to end up happening. One, a lot of these bigger firms are going to end up buying them up, right? Like, so if it's really that good of an idea, then they'll just get bought out, right? Like if OpenAI or one of these larger companies is worrying about a competitor that's going to break through, I mean, what's the sense? Just buy out their engineer team and buy, because it's really what you're doing, right? You get these data scientists that are coming out of college that are research PhDs, and they're competing for all this talent, right? Everybody competes for that talent, and that's why people throw like crazy numbers at these people and say, hey, it's almost literally like the NFL now. Like you'll see engineers that'll get like $100 million offer, and I'm not fucking exaggerating. Like it's literally like Peyton Manning or like Tom Brady getting a contract for football over the course of the next whatever. They're franchised over the next 10 years, and that's what they're doing. They're basically franchising talent. And in this particular case, you're seeing a lot of the same shit pop up. Like 90% of all these applications, particularly in the AI field, they're all going to fail. Like they're all going to go to zero. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like some will break through and pop through, and then the other is those that will make it, right? There'll be those that will make it. But the truth of the matter is it's if you don't have something more to offer the user, then at that point they're going to get that from somewhere. So you could see everybody trying to be everything, and it does boil down to resources. It does boil down to bureaucracy sometimes, because that's the benefit of small, fast AI companies that are able to build. People worry. That's another thing I'm also happy about. Like small startups, there's never a time in history where, you have the potential to break it like you can today. You're just acquiring users is really what it is. Like who's more appealing, who has a better customer experience over the next 10 years, guys, is going to be everything. And I mean everything. Like people think it's going to be the automated companies. It's going to be the AI. No, it's those that are going to focus on the human experience and the human element of all of this, the interactivity. That is where the big money is. All these other companies are going to crumble. Systems engineering, anything with systems, right? Coming into a business and being able to say, hey, we're going to automate these processes, because that's already happening now. And then being able to say, hey, this is how you put all this together, right? Because like you said, Nick can jump in a call and you could say, okay, cool, I can write this code, but what does it do? How does it fit into the grand scheme of what you're building? Because otherwise, if you build a code base of like 20,000 lines, and then next thing you know, you're trying to add something to whatever it is that has nothing to do with that, you're having to go back all over again, rip shit apart. So you need an engineer that understands how to build and scope something out over the long run, right? That's able to say, hey, this makes sense here, this makes sense here, and this makes sense here. Same thing with, like when we're designing, when we have our conversations about the servers and demographics, and whether we're building servers over here in this part of the world, or we're You know what I mean? Like anytime when you're looking at whether it be gaming, whether it be IT, whether it be whatever demographic that you're in, you could see right away that the experience plays a huge part.
Did you know Leonardo actually belongs to Canva since like a year ago?
I didn't actually. I probably should.
Yeah, it's like I started using Canva like a couple of months before Leonardo, before Canva acquired it, and yeah, I thought something would change, but no, like it just keeps going. If anything, Leonardo became better after Canva acquired it, because they keep putting out more stuff. Like they're not ahead of the industry, but they are very close behind, which is why I've never used any other image gen, like pretty much ever. It's like the only one that I ever liked.
It's compartmentalized. I told you, development's compartmentalized now, and it's pretty cool though. Like people will build something, they'll take it as far as they can take it, and then there does become a point where you need, you know, more funding and engineers, because it's like, for example, you know, you might need more processing power, and depending on what instance you're using in AWS or whatever platform that you're using, you're eventually going to have to scale up, right? Like remember when we were indexing new chains, like people don't realize like right away the cost of some of that it's pretty radical. Like, you know what I mean? It gets up there before you know it. Your AWS bill is 5 figures, and then, you know, you're like, damn. So that's why people don't realize this stuff when you're building it, you know, getting the tech down and getting the users. It's the users, right? It's getting the people, you know, through the door that really matters. And then at that point, it's getting more funding, and then, you know, extra engineering hands and talent on board. But you can get scrappy. Like I would recommend to anybody now, if you were trying to build a product, get it, you know, get the first 1,000 users. Get it, you know, between 1,000, eventually you get to that 10,000 mark, but get that first 1,000 users, get the first 100 users really. And then once you get, you know, data pool to test, you know, user experience, you get feedback, your first 1,000 users, you can exit pretty fast now. Like people can get in and out. If you have the right circumstances, the right team, and the right setting, you can get in and out pretty quick in the tech industry now. And now's the time to do it, to be honest with you, before the bubble pops. Like Leonardo built what they built, and I bet you that was intentional. Sold that shit to, you know, Canva right away, who's got a larger budget, bigger company, you know, better distribution channels. And then immediately they tapped into everything that Canva had and leveraged it. Like you could see that that's going to happen a lot. Mark my words, you're going to see a lot of these like AI companies that we initially saw, because they have time on their side, right? They've been doing it for so long, they've collected data, right? It's all about time. Like, you know, more data to test, you know, more stuff to pull from. It's more work that Canva doesn't have to do, right? They do all the footwork, and then the bigger companies come through, buy it, and scale it.
Yeah, and I remember how Leonardo was before Canva acquired it. It was still pretty good, and a lot of people actually made content about how it's pretty good and how it has some features that the other image gens don't have. It wasn't like those features actually didn't end up being anything good. They're still there, but they're not useful for anything. But that was a great purchase for Canva, because they took all of this and made it better. Yeah, and Elon Musk recently, when he introduced Grok 4, he said he's actually going for videos as well, and he's putting up those GPUs. He said something like, "Finally, those GPUs are going to be useful."
Yeah, I just fired up.
I think like September, we're gonna have video gen of from Grok.
Holy shit! Sure. Hold on. To train Grok on a single Omega rig called Colossus 1 and Colossus 2, it's about to drop 550,000 GP200s and GP.
But this is good. I feel the more companies are like kind of fighting with each other, the more beneficial it will be for us end users.
Interesting. Yeah, this is capital. Go ahead.
Yeah, Veo 3 has existed for like what, 3 or 4 weeks now, and it's already dropping in price, like by a lot.
Yeah,
like it used to be like $4 per each generation. Now it's like $1 if you buy the expensive package. But even then, $1 per generation, that is very low in comparison.
It'll be much lower than that eventually. This is just the beginning. A lot of AI, people don't know this. You hear me say this all the time, Sleazy. A lot of infrastructure for AI is subsidized. So the truth is very few of these companies are paying their own bill. Like they'll get, you know, some type of program where they'll cover their costs through credit, stuff like that. People have yet to feel the weight of this, like the expense, like our grid. This is another thing that people don't realize. It's why Elon's, you know, building what he's building. To be honest with you, the grid, everything's going to have to change. You know, and I'm sure you've been hearing conversations about, you know, the US grid and other countries, and you know, electricity, the power demand for this is going to be radical. People thought crypto was a problem when they were like, oh yeah, you know, Bitcoin takes up so much. But this is times a fucking million. Like I can't even, like, it's not even comparable. To be honest with you, I mean, you're going to see some wild stuff coming out in the next few years with this, but this is pretty cool with Grok. I definitely think you'll be seeing Grok be doing videos soon. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. And just speaking of other cool inventions, look at this.
Oh, this is great.
Like, there's no grappling, of course. That would be a little too complicated for it, but yeah, like, of course they're fighting like maybe like 10-year-olds who still don't have like motor skills to do anything, but yeah.
Oh, this is funny. This is pretty good.
But yeah, it's well on its way. I don't think it will ever be useful for anything because
it will.
Boxing with each other.
Oh, you mean for the boxing? No, I could put it to you this way. This is I would imagine a consumer product that they're just selling to people, but you can't imagine right now. I mean, what militaries have, like, it's radical. Like, it's radical. Like the things that I've seen, at least in some of the, because I like that stuff, like staying on top of high tech stuff. When you look at some of the newer military, like, you know, even things with drones, like, it's crazy what these things do now. It really is. Like, tomorrow warfare is, like, if you look at it, it's terrifying to be like, you're like, it's the greatest time to be alive, but it's also like terrifying because they have like swarms of drones that can literally hunt you down anywhere, no matter where you're at, and shoot something that's so small at you that, you know, so accurately, you're guaranteed that, like, you're done for. There's no hope for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's like, as far as drones go, which is like the most preferred way at the moment, there are drones that have to be like extra sneaky and extra expensive to make it happen, but then there are also drones who like gonna be the cheapest possible so that you can actually do it in mass.
That's true. I think that's what this is. If you're seeing these robots and these types of things, like, I feel like there's something that's probably 10 times better behind the scenes.
And you know how
go ahead.
So information is sometimes what actually maintains peace. Like, there's a classic situation that like three forces, not one of them knows what the other one is capable of, so they just stand there and do nothing because they cannot afford to actually go all out war. If two sides go at each other, the third one wins. So nobody can do anything. That's how they maintain.
I can see it. You know, I can see that. It's cool though. This is pretty dope. Would you watch it? Like, would you be entertained, guys, by, like, you know, robot boxing? I don't think I would. Me personally, I don't think I can get into it.
Not in the current state, but I guess if it's getting more advanced, I mean, why not? I mean, I'm curious just to see like how it would look like in a few years' time.
If they're really, like, if it's to the death, like they just did go to and to just destruction, things are blowing up in the ring.
Maybe if you add some lore to it, like if the bot has some kind of personality that would either help or prevent him from winning, or if there's like a human operator as well.
My imagination goes crazy with stuff like this. You remember the show, like the Robot Wars, where people go in arena and they fight, like, and they have the remote control and they control each other's robot. And that was like a big thing. I could see that with this. I could see even them giving them names of like famous people that people hated through history with their personalities and like.
Yeah, Mike Tyson versus Mayweather. I don't remember his name.
Well, you heard everyone. Don't cancel me. But you heard everyone making jokes about Grok being Mecha Hitler, and I laugh. I think, like, can you imagine, like, Mike Tyson? People will do crazy shit like that, man. It'll be like Mike Tyson versus Mecha Hitler, you know. It's just the nuttiest stuff that you'll see, man. It's gonna be wild over the next few years.
Well, Mike Tyson's kind of old now, so
maybe not him. Whoa, bro, don't sleep, man. Everybody says that. You know me. You reel me in with this, man. I feel like that was intentional. I'm a sport guy. Look, man. I think, like, for example, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but I don't think Mike put in the effort that he could have with Jake Paul, right? I think in this particular...
Oh, yeah, he lost on purpose.
That shit was money, man. That was a money fight. I don't care what no one says. That was a money fight. But I'm going to tell you this. I think if you watch his videotapes and his training and he already can knock out, and I mean this, like, I'm going to throw an actual number that I personally believe. I think probably 99% of society, and I'm not exaggerating, that if he was in a 101 with any person on the street today, at his age at 60, he would decimate them. and it's just it's a muscle memory. It's just training. It's just he'll decimate them. I personally think that, man, genetics are changing, man. You ever seen some of these guys that are like 60 and I mean, they look crazy. Even Joe Rogan talks about he's taking hormone replacement in 50 some years old. Like it's not a joke no more with what money's doing. You look at what that other guy, what's his name, Robert Johnson, or what the guy that looks 18, like he's genetically 18, but he's 50 years old by age. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah, Brian Johnson. Yeah,
Brian Johnson, yeah, like, and they tested the guy is literally genetically 18 years old. Like his goal is to be the first person, you know, they're saying the first person to live forever is already born today. But I don't know. I think maybe we'll hit 200 or something like that, 150 in our lifetime. But I'm not sure unless there's like severe tech involved to where you're basically like cyborg mode at that point. I'm not so sure that biologically, I mean, you can reverse the process apparently. So interesting subject at least.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone is now 79 years old.
That's
But
fucking
man,
crazy.
he's
Show me a
still-
picture. Yeah, put a picture of fucking Sylvester Stallone at 79 years old. That shit is wild.
I mean, I don't know if you can like instantly find like his today's picture,
Let me see something.
because they a lot of picture of him, but like from many years ago.
Yeah, Stallone today. If you look at one today, there's a couple recent ones. Where is it? This is recent. So even if you look right here, hold up. Let me put this up. This is wild. People think, listen, man, it's all about. There's a saying, right? It's how you take care of yourself, especially particularly in your 30s too. Like that really matters too, man.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
when
But
you're
by the
in
time you're 80,
Yeah, bro. I tell people the way you take care of yourself now. Here, let me do this real quick. Right here. So, for example, that's him today. This
that's
is pretty.
the size of a head.
This is him today. Like, yeah, that's like 22 inches, easy. Like, look at this guy. And I tell, but listen, that doesn't always matter too, man. Because if you think about the context of what just happened, rest in peace to my boy Hulk Hogan, and obviously Ozzy. Like, I don't even know where to start. I feel like we have to do a whole show just on that, even if it's not relevant. But if you look at Hulk Hogan and you see how he was when he passed away, you know, muscle, it's not always everything. Obviously, you got to take care of other parts, your organs and stuff like that. I'm a weirdo though. I take like NAD plus, and I have like a crazy regimen, like concoction of
It's like you know this
vitamins.
Chinese meme, the Chinese martial master meme. He goes like very old. He's about to die. Then he defeats like 5 people in a row, and then dies of old age.
Listen, man, I could see it. I could see it. I tell people all the time, man, like it's people say like, how do you do it? How do you do like the working out and you do all that? It has to become like a habit. It has to literally become, until it becomes hardwired in your head, like certain things that you automate in your life, just a process where you just do it when you wake up in the morning. It's a pain in the ass, but you need to set time aside to program yourself. Like if you're able to, you know, program yourself to get, because there's most days I don't want to do that shit. Like I'm not gonna lie, when I get up in the morning and you think I want to go to the gym that early? You think I want to, you know, have to take this or do this or jump into this meeting or you know what I mean? Nobody wants to do anything. The people that win are the ones in this generation. It's literally just people that figure out how to self-motivate. It's crazy.
Well,
That's cool as shit.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
making holograms now.
Yeah, that's really cool. Is that the one on the spinning thing though? That's the one that spins, right, with the blades?
I don't think so.
I'm
This
not even
isn't-
sure.
Yeah, I see the blades in the
I
back.
see what you mean. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a blade in the back. I see it. Yeah, they work off blades. These have been around for a while now.
Yeah, and there are more holograms now.
This is actually a really good subject. So probably about, this is really fucking cool. I haven't seen this.
This one is just drawing, of course, but more things are
This is
possible.
cool. So I got into holographic technology probably about 5 years ago, like looking into it, right? Like I even thought about a startup in it, and it's interesting. I learned a lot of really cool stuff, but basically the tech, it's so far behind what we would need it to be. Like, it's one of those fields that I actually think over the next few years you're going to see a lot. And what inspired me obviously was Iron Man, right? Like, there's no doubt about it. Like that's just what inspired me. When you see him inside of there and he's just like, you can do all these cool things over the table and move things. We're nowhere near that. Like, because one of the problem is because not only does that photon, the light has to be able to sustain itself, without the fan, without any of that. But then you have to be able to touch it, stretch it, move it, interact with it. You have to be able to manipulate it in ways that we just...
So you need some kind of 3D camera that will actually detect that you're interacting with it.
Yeah, that's a part of it. Like, if you had to build it, it would look like how the first computer was. It would probably be something you would build through a whole room. Like, you know what I mean? To make it even possible.
Yeah.
Because right now the tech is nowhere. Yeah, but this is cool as shit. I won't lie. I like this. This is pretty cool.
I think the closest you could find is the Apple device.
Yeah,
I forgot the
yeah,
name.
where you put goggles on. That's it. You have to
Yeah.
wear something. Doing it in actual, like, in real life. Like, let's say I'm sitting at this table and in front of me there's just a flat table and a hologram pops up from the table and you can't do that yet.
Yeah, this is too challenging. Yeah.
This is cool as shit though. I've seen this actually. This is a little bit older.
Huh.
This is actually not new. I've seen this.
Yep. And that's it for today. Yes.
Cool.
I hope you learned something new.
I did every time we do it. Well, I'll say this. The future is wild. And I know that there's a lot of really cool shit that's coming out now that I'm looking at, and I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about where everything's going. I'm not as worried as some people think, where they're like, oh, you know, the end of the world's coming and all that. Oh, probably. I'm not gonna lie. People ask me all the time, what do you think, like, at the pace we're moving? I don't know, man. Who knows? Maybe that's for another show, but pretty cool.
Yeah, personally, I'm pretty happy with how it's moving. I feel like, or at least my personal experience is, when I interact with the AI, my job is to actually catch mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I would be able to do everything without it. Well, not everything, but most of it, because I need to understand the whole process to actually be good at working with AI. But I also see the other case where people are like, Grok, can you summarize it for me? And they look no further.
Is your life right now, and be honest, each of you, could you live, if we went back to a pre-AI world right now? I'm gonna ask you two questions. Can you live? Actually, I'll ask you three. One, three different things. AI first. Can you live without AI? Would you be able to go back now?
No, I mean, if I was obliged, of course, yeah, but it would be a massive downgrade of my workflow and productivity.
Here's a kicker. This is where I find it interesting, because I've looked at some of the numbers and the stats. Do you think that you're any further along in your career, in your life, in whatever you were looking to achieve with AI? Because there's a big argument to be made here, and I think I'm siding with the side that, don't get me wrong, for those that know how to use it, for those that have, because it's more than just knowing how to use it. Anybody, like, there's no secret. People try to catch you gimmicky marketing courses on how to be a better prompter. Like, that is so stupid. Please don't.
$100 for it.
Yeah, please, nobody gets sucked into that. Please, like, you know, the truth is corporate America, corporate everything is dumb. Like, the type of people that they get to come in and they hire entry-level prompters and all that, it's dumb. It's sad that there are people like that, and it is going to be a field, because it's actually currently a thing right now that people go to companies and teach employees how to prompt. But I guess it's no different than teaching old people how to use the first touch phone. So, like, I understand, like, I could see that. It's just I can't see that lasting that long. But the reason why I ask is because although AI is here, I question, has it really sped up my workflows that radically? Like, has it? Because I still do graphic design at times myself. I still do development sometimes myself, whether it be in gaming environments or working on something, you know, coding something, whatever it might be. Yeah, I think in some ways, yeah, but I don't know. I don't see the results yet. I think it evens itself. This is a big conversation right now. I feel like it evens itself out over time, because think about it. When you're using it and you're the only person using it, of course you get ahead, right? But if everybody is using AI now, and all these companies are using AI, are we not back where we started? Because that's how I feel sometimes. Like, I don't feel like per se any of the companies, I don't feel like even Posse Studio, I feel like it's radically changed the way that we approach development and the way that we do things. But we've always been more of focusing on the human experience, like the creator side of the whole experience in general. So I'm not so sure AI is like, I feel like if that's the case, why aren't there more billion-dollar, like popping trillion-dollar companies popping up every day? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it evens itself out over time with everybody using it.
I would say mostly it's because people take time to actually learn it, and those who learn it first usually come out ahead.
Amen to that. Actually, that's very true. First movers principle.
And,
early bird gets the worm.
It also kind of changes what kind of person it takes to do a certain type of job. Like, for example, programmers. That used to be a female-dominated job.
People don't know that. Yes, back in the World War I, like II era, probably right around there when they were doing like literally like, yeah, bro.
Yeah, because it used to be that everything physical was the men's job, and everything to do with sitting down used to be a female job. But now it's not at all like that anymore.
Yeah, there's some amazing female computer scientists. I told you my wife, at least end on this. My wife works at Bell, at a facility, one of the Bells. We'll say that created the Wi-Fi and the laser, and like you can just, you know what I mean? It's nutty, like the tech that was invented out of here. And when you look at some of the earlier computer scientists and some of the people that were contributing to the field, there was a bunch of females that was involved in that, man. So it's actually pretty cool when you go back and you look at the history of all that and how it evolved into what it is. Even cryptography, people don't realize, people look at crypto and everything that's going on now. Like cryptography has been a thing. You could trace it all the way back to Egypt. So, you know what I mean? When you look at some of the concepts that we utilize today, in our approach, even, some of the guys that were working on gold and, some of the things that were before Bitcoin, it's Nick Szabo. It's interesting. It's good stuff. What about you, Magician? To end with that, like, do you feel like, okay, AI may have made things easier, but do you think it's moved your needle? Do you think it's brought you closer to whatever your goal is, or goals plural?
I mean, to be fair, I'm just using it in my daily life, like to avoid spending too much time on research. Yeah, I think it just I'm just using it as a helper, I guess. Sometimes I'm just wrapping up some sample websites. I'm also working outside of crypto, so I'm doing a bit of development. So this helps in terms of coding, obviously. But yeah, I think if you have an outside goal, it can accelerate you pretty well. But if you're working on some kind of regular job and then you are just you are accelerating your own job, but you are not necessarily moving the needle, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, no, I see where it come from. Yeah, this looks interesting. We can end it on this, Lazy.
It's like, this is not for today, but there is an argument to be made that it might actually help us have more children.
Get the fuck out of here. U.S. birth rates has been free fall for decades. Get the hell out of here. Yeah, listen, man, it's crazy.
But that would be a debate.
It's crazy, man. I love it.
If it does the job for us, we might have more time, but yeah, that's another kind of word.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we have to get a couple drinks. This is like a weekend podcast. Like, you ever see the Joe Rogan ones where he has like 5 people jumping on a podcast? All right, guys, I appreciate it. Listen, man, that was awesome, man. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could jump on more of these, and I will do my best to make some more. Try to be on more, Sleazy.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Magician, cool. Give us a magic spell to end the stream.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining. Appreciate you all, and then
but where's the magic spell?
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Magic spell.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. There it is.
Good enough.